Hi guys, and welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee and Hero Show, coming at you with a brand new format, back after a week's absence. A little bit of an absence last week, predominantly because the delivery was late due to Easter shipping delays. Obviously the comics were late coming from the States, and then they were late coming to us. So by the time our delivery got organised last week and pull lists done and new releases on the racks, it was way too late to put a video out, to be honest. So apologies for that, but it gave me a little bit of time to have a bit of a rethink with regards to how we present the show every week. We've obviously been breaking it down into 2 episodes, pull list, new titles in this week, and then there's been the odd third one here and there. But I'm just going to put it into one show now. I'll put some timestamps at the bottom. You can flick to certain things if that's all that interests you. But what I want to start doing is, first of all, I'm going to go through changes in the store or, new things out of the store, that kind of thing. Then I'll go into a little bit of TV and film news and comic news. Then we'll go into my pull list for the week, and then we'll finish off with what's new into the store as well, and then any other business at the end. So yeah, kicking things off with regards to the store, it's been a pretty exciting week. A lot of things have been confirmed. We've got events upcoming. We've been making changes in store. First and foremost, we obviously have our signing with Ram V, which we're very much looking forward to. That is in June, 11th of June to be precise. It's a Saturday. Be 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I was chatting with Ram yesterday. He was confirming his flights and his hotel reservations, all this kind of stuff. And he's really, really looking forward to it. He's never been over in Belfast before. The response we've had to the announcement has been fantastic. This is a guy very much already at the top of his game, but can only go higher. Venom, Carnage, Justice League Dark, Swamp Thing, Catwoman, taking over as Detective Comics writer. Many deaths of Lila Starr, Blue and Green. His work speaks for itself. And on top of that, he's just an all-around really nice bloke as well. I obviously had the pleasure of meeting him last year at Thought Bubble. So really, really looking forward to that. Highly recommend getting down earlier the better. He will be here for 3 hours. It'll be 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, as I say. But I definitely recommend getting down early and, bring as many books as you want. Don't take the mick, but it is a free signing. We'll obviously have loads of stuff on the day. I've been getting in, Carnage number 1s, Venom number 1s, many Deaths of Lila Starr trades. He even worked on a Quake trade quite some time ago, which was a tie-in to the Quake universe of the games. So we've got some of those in as well. So we'll have plenty of stuff on the day, but of course bring your own stuff as well. So that's Ram V. That is Saturday the 11th of June 2022. And that of course is to celebrate 5 years of the store being open. And where has 5 years gone? So that's announcement 1. Announcement 2, Free Comic Book Day is obviously coming up soon, the first Saturday in May. That is the 7th. We've been getting the titles in slowly. Diamond send them to you in phases leading up to Free Comic Book Day so that you have all your stock ready and in place for the day. The first thing to say is please don't be asking me to hold stuff. Free Comic Book Day is not about things being held for. It's about getting people into your store. That's the whole idea behind it. You have to reward those people and give those people first choice of who comes in. We appreciate every single customer we have, every pull list we have, but we have to be fair on this day. If I start holding stuff for people, it would get to the point where there wouldn't even be stock to put out on the day. So please don't get in touch and ask us to hold stuff. If we've stuff left over after the day, we will of course, let you guys know. And if there's stuff still left, we always run Free Comic Book Day, but then we usually run it for a couple of days afterwards with whatever stock's left, that kind of thing. We'll be doing some different incentives on the day. There'll be, certain percentages off graphic novel purchases, off back issue sections, off omnibuses, all sorts of things. So we'll be working that all out, and we'll hopefully announce the full details of that in the next couple of days. But yeah, there's some great Free Comic Book Day stuff. You've got the stuff leading up to DC's next big event, Dark Crisis. You've got stuff on Spider-Man and Venom. You've got stuff on Avengers Hulk. And then there's loads of indie stuff on it as well. Loads of brands you'll recognize and franchises you'll recognize. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that as well. It's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, which is the 7th of May. And we will be open from 9 a.m. as opposed to 10 a.m. that day as well. So that's Free Comic Book Day. With regards to the store, I've been doing a ton of work in the last couple of weeks in terms of getting new issues down from obviously our back catalogue upstairs and expanding sections. So when you come into the store now, it used to be that along the back was the Marvel section, and along the wall there where the window is was the DC section. Now the DC section's still where it is, but that's my next project. I've been doing the Marvel section first. So Marvel has now been moved into the middle of the store and it curls right around. So we've brought anywhere between 400 and 500 more issues downstairs. We've bulked out sections massively. We've bulked out underneath as well, the boxes underneath. You know, it's always going to be an ongoing project. This stuff sells and we bring new stock down, but we've been working really, really hard in the last few weeks to get as much down as possible. So as I say, Marvel's now in the middle. Against the wall now is comic packs, as well as Dark Horse and IDW section. We have moved the signs around to make it as easy as possible, but I have noticed a few confused looks in the last few days when people have walked in and why is the Marvel section not there? So yeah, we've been doing that. We've been getting in tons more omnibuses as well. The omnibus section is more and more bulked out. I'll get to more of that again when I hit the what's new in this week section, because again, we've increased those. We've been getting some new merchandise in as well. So we've really been doing our best to stock out the store as much as humanly possible and fill every space. So as I say, the idea will be that the Marvel section's there, so it's across 2 bays and curls right round. And then the next one over will be DC within the next few weeks, few months as well. And then along the window will be, you know, other indie comics. I just need to expand the DC and Marvel stuff. It sells so well. It's proven really popular at the moment. And obviously with my impending fatherhood coming along, every project that I have in mind for the store I'm trying to get done in the next couple of months. So there is that. And then the last bit of business, I suppose, is just regarding CGCs. There's around 120 books away for different customers, as well as a few that will be sold in the store. If you do have any CGC stuff, we always like to send off every 2 months. So we'll be sending off our next batch at the end of May. So plenty of time to get there. But you know, it's always every 2 months. You know, that way it keeps the postage charges down. We can keep our prices as low as possible. And there is that as well. So yeah, that's pretty much everything going on with the store. Let's move on to a little bit of news then. So with regards to news this week, it's predominantly movie and TV based. I mean, we had the Thor Love and Thunder trailer drop, about a minute long, soundtrack of Sweet Child of Mine. Lots going on in the trailer. I'm not usually one to watch an awful lot of trailers, but with this one I wanted to watch it, get a sense of the tone of the movie and the look of the movie. I suppose with Taika Waititi coming back after Thor Ragnarok, it's not too much of a surprise that it's a similar tone. You know, it's lighthearted, it's humorous. This seems to have annoyed some people, but you know, I'm all for it. You know, I go to the movies to have a fun time. I'm just as happy watching a really dark, serious movie like The Batman. But the tone they've established now with Thor and being part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, it should be lighthearted, it should be humorous. But yeah, a lot to unpack in the trailer. Again, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy in there. You've got Thor himself. You've got what's going to be the Jane Foster Thor with Natalie Portman coming back. You've got stuff with Valkyrie in the trailer. There seems to be an awful lot that they're going to pack in. So that's my only concern. Like, will they pack too much in? But that's almost never been a problem with the Marvel movies. They throw a lot of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. As well as that, of course, we've got Doctor Strange coming out in the next week and a half or so. And the Multiverse of Madness, can't wait for that. Loads of great stuff to look forward to there. I've avoided the last couple of trailers, so I'm going in as open as possible, you know, as unspoiled as possible. Sam Raimi, Doctor Strange, that's enough for me. I believe it's the week of Free Comic Book Day it's coming out, so gonna try and get to see that in the cinema before Free Comic Book Day hits. So got that to look forward to. I haven't started Moon Knight. People keep asking me. Episode 5 is this week, so I'm just gonna wait until next week. All 6 are out. I'll watch it all then, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of chats about it in the store as well. So outside of that, Sony actually held a presentation in Las Vegas last night as part of CinemaCon. And there was quite a lot of announcements there. So one of the first part is that with Enter the Spider-Verse, which is still up there in the top 3 Spider-Man movies of all time, live action or animated, phenomenal movie. There's going to be a 2-part sequel to it. So it was originally called, you know, just part 2 and part 3, but it's been given titles. We've got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which will hit in 2023, and then in 2024 we'll have Beyond the Spider-Verse, so we'll make it a little bit of Spider-Man Beyond, Ben Reilly, Spider-Man 2099, that kind of stuff as well coming out. But they made other announcements as well. They made some really, really weird ones. I mean, you've got a Grammy-winning rapper called Bad Bunny. Now, obviously I'm into my wrestling these days. I watch a lot of AEW. I don't really watch much WWE, but Bad Bunny's been doing some stuff in there as well. But he's also now been cast in a Sony/Marvel movie, El Muerto, which is going to make him the first Latino lead in a Marvel live-action movie. So the character of El Muerto, aka Juan Carlos, is a super-powered wrestler. He's been in training, who originally fought Spider-Man in a charity wrestling match. I mean, this is a really left-field choice. I mean, there is a Kraven the Hunter movie coming out as well. I don't understand why they don't introduce Kraven in a movie as the villain, and then maybe have his own, movie that spins out of that. But yeah, it's quite a change in terms of characters. But Sony have always done things a little left of center anyway. They also officially announced that there will be a third Venom movie. Don't really care. Still haven't watched Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. I'm sure I'll pick it up and watch it on streaming platform at some point. But I just don't massively like that interpretation of Venom, so a third one coming, not a big deal to me. They also announced that there's going to be another entry in the Ghostbusters franchise. So we'll see if that is going to follow Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I finally got to see last week. Lovely nostalgic movie. Definitely into old timers like myself. So they announced that to come as well. So tons of stuff announced out of there. Different degrees of interest and curiosity with some of those things. And then another thing I noticed as well is there's a bit of an announcement. So there's new management in Warner Brothers. There's been a takeover with Discovery as well, an amalgamation of different companies, and there's now going to be different people in charge. Now this of course has led to tons of bring back the Snyderverse people. This has brought to the fore people saying leave the Snyderverse behind. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of direction they go in. They're trying to have more of an emphasis on HBO Max as well. Are they ever going to release it this side of the world? Different question. But for example, they had this idea that they were going to do mid-sized comic book movies and release them exclusively on HBO Max. So Blue Beetle was one, Batgirl was another. Now, Beetle is it's already been announced as going to have a theatrical release before HBO Max. And now apparently they're going to do it with Batgirl as well. Now Batgirl was, for a movie of that scale, 70 million, of course it's still a stupid amount of money. But in terms of a movie budget, that's not that huge. So apparently they're really happy with how it looks. They're really happy with the performance of the Batman, which crossed the $750 million mark a few days back, which is incredible for a 3-hour Batman movie. That's nuts. But what a movie. So apparently they're very, very happy with the whole Bat universe. So they're considering throwing a little bit of extra budget at it, cleaning up some visual effects shots, just making it that little bit tighter and better and giving it the full theatrical treatment, which I am all on board for. So yeah, that's pretty much it with regards to TV and movie news this week. As I say, this is a section that guys seem to enjoy during the pandemic. I had a bit more time. I could focus on this stuff a bit more, but I'm more than happy to chat about this stuff every week and try and keep you guys up to date on it as well. I'll throw in comics news as well. I mean, I suppose the one last thing just to say before moving on to the new in this week and pull list stuff is the previews books also arrived in this week as well. So we're getting all the previews of all the new titles coming up. Chip Zdarsky taking over Daredevil, the Avengers, X-Men Eternals crossover, Day of Judgment, or Eve of Judgment I should say, coming out as well. So the previews books are always in store. You guys can check them out, sit down, have a coffee, have a Coke. Don't have anything, just selling the previous books. And let us know if there's anything you're interested in. I'll try and throw together a wee preview show going through my picks from it. And of course, we'll have the boards as well and the podcast. So lots of different resources out there to try and keep you guys up to date with what's coming out so that you don't miss any of those titles when it hits that point. So yeah, let's move from there and go on to my pull list. So pull list this week is a big one, I'm not going to lie. Last week was a slightly smaller delivery because again, some of those Easter shipping delays and so forth. So because of that, there were certain titles that didn't come out last week that have maybe been released this week as well. So there is so much stuff here this week for me from DC, Marvel, indie companies. So I'll just take everything I have. So first of all, we have issue 75 of Justice League. This has been called Death of the Justice League. It's written by Joshua Williamson or by Rafa Sandoval. So it basically is the last issue of Justice League from what we're told for quite some time. And I read it last night. It does feel big. It does feel epic. It does feel like there might be lasting consequences. This, of course, is also a prelude to Dark Crisis, which is going to be Joshua Williamson written as well. So I highly recommend jumping on this if you're going to jump on Dark Crisis. You can read it just as a one-shot. You don't have to have read Justice League to this point. The whole idea that this is a precursor issue. It's a little bit like, if you remember when Metal came out, there was 2 one-shots. Dark Days, The Casting and The Forge, and with that they were lead-in issues to the big event. So there's a free comic book day issue as well. Those are your 2 lead-ins, and then Dark Crisis itself will begin in earnest in June. But yeah, I was really impressed with it. It's a double-sized issue. It's a beautiful acetate cover as well. So Justice League 75. Any week that has new Saga is of course a great week. So Saga, believe it or not, after waiting years for it to come back, it just seems to be coming out so fast. We're at issue 58 now as well. So, of course, Fiona Staple, Brian K. Vaughan, Star Wars for adults, as I always pitch it to people. All the trades are always kept in stock in case you're playing catch up. Just quite simply one of the best comics around. Next up, we have part 8 of 12 for Berserker. So this is the Kenny Reeves, Matt Kent and Ron Garney Eternal Warrior fable, if you will. Exceptionally violent Eternal Warrior fable as well. So we're reaching the 2/3 point here as well. So I would imagine this is leading up to sort of the end of the second arc before issue 9 kicks in, and that's the beginning of the third arc and sort of going towards your conclusion. But it's been a fun series. It doesn't have tons of depth, but it's been really fun and some really great artwork as well. Next up from the Rons, we have Silver Surfer Rebirth. We're at issue 4 of 5 for this one. So the Rons, I say, because Ron Mars, Ron Lim, two of the greatest creators ever to work on the Silver Surfer. This has been a great throwback series. It's been very nostalgic. It's been very for color. And again, just the emphasis on a fun sort of space hopping adventure. So great stuff there. Next up, we have issue 2 of the current, or the recent relaunch for Punisher, I should say. So, of course, Jason Aaron writing. We have 2 artists on this, Jesus Says and Paul Azuceta. The way they sort of work it is one artist does the flashbacks and one artist does the modern stuff. Works really, really well. I thought issue 1 was great. It was a really good return for Frank. So hopefully issue 2 keeps up the same momentum. Easily one of the biggest titles this week, and I cannot wait to tuck into this. I've been told really good things. The advance reviews are really strong. Amazing Spider-Man #1. So if you're looking at jumping on point for Spider-Man, this is it. Brand new creative team, return of an industry legend in John Romita Jr. on art. You've got Zeb Wells writing, and it's a double-sized, oversized issue. It's celebrating 60 years, of course, since the first appearance of Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy 15. Again, if you're looking at a starting point, this is what you go for. I think it's going to be aimed at a sort of a teenage audience. So if you're a slightly younger reader, you should be fine with this. I always say with Marvel Comics in general, if you're happy with, you know, your kids watching the Marvel movies, there won't be anything more violent or untoward in a Marvel comic. So if you're happy with that and they like Spider-Man, this is your jumping on point right there. Next up, we have issue 14 of Joker. So we are continuing on with James Tynion IV. This is Giuseppe Camuncoli on art for this one. Guillaume Art's obviously done the cover. This was originally slated to be 14 issues of a mini-series, or a maxi-series, I suppose. But it's actually going to be 15 issues in total, so penultimate issue there. A big one for me this week I'm really looking forward to is, of course, the Murphyverse is back. So we have Batman Beyond the White Knight. We have issue 2 of this now. Sean Murphy, Dave Stewart on colours. First issue was just chef's kiss. Fantastic. Really love anytime we go into the Murphyverse. You can tell his love for the characters just dripping off every page. Influences from the animated shows. Influence from the earlier movies. Just an altogether brilliant package. Next up, we have Dark Knights of Steel as it reaches its midpoint. So issue 6 of 12, Tom Taylor, Yasmin Putri, of course. After reading issue 5, I've come to this conclusion. I may have spoke about it before, but Tom Taylor really does not like Clark Kent. So Tom Taylor loves the idea of Superman. I mean, he's writing Superman, son of Kal-El, but of course it's been Jonathan that has been elevated into the role of Superman, and that is a brilliant title. So clearly he loves Superman. But if you go back to Superman in Injustice, he was the bad guy. If you go to Superman, son of Kal-El, Clark's nowhere to be seen. And then there was something Clark did in issue 5 where as soon as I read it, I just thought, he really doesn't like Clark Kent. But brilliant title, and again, reaching its midpoint, issue 6 of 12. Next up, we have Detective Comics, so we're 10:59. So we're going to be starting to wind down on Mariko Tamaki's run on Detective Comics, which I think has been wonderful. It's been very different from the main Batman title. It's been exciting. It's brought in members of the Bat family. It's exactly what it should be. But of course, Ram is taking over Detective Comics from around 1062, I believe. So we're starting to wind down with the Mariko Tamaki stuff, and again, it has been a great run. Next up, we have Robin 13. So I'm always doing the variant covers for this, which are always great, I think. With this one, it is Joshua Williamson, so he's continuing to write. So this is one of the parts of Shadow War, which of course is the crossover series for Batman, Deathstroke, and Robin. So Robin 13 this week, always good. Just can't stop talking about Ram V, and this week we also see the release of The Swamp Thing, issue 12 of 16. So Ram V, Mike Perkins, beautiful cover, beautiful series, one of DC's very best titles. Cannot emphasize that enough. You know, it started out as a 10-issue maxi series, did so well, they extended it to 16. I wouldn't be surprised to see it extended further beyond that again. So, great stuff. Next up, we have Thor number 24. So again, we're seeing a lot of these celebrating 60 years of Marvel characters. So obviously a lot of them were 1962. So this one is 60 years of Thor. So this is an oversized issue. It's also legacy number 750 as well. So you obviously have Donny Cates and Nick Klein writing in this, but you also have an all-star lineup of creators there as well. Jason Aaron writing, we have Al Ewing, we have Lee Garbey, we have Dan Jurgens, we have Walter Simonson, J. Michael Straczynski and Olivier Coupel as well. So it's subtitled Funeral for an All-Father, spinning out of the events of the previous Thor series, which was God of Hammers, which was great. And yeah, Thor continues to be one of Marvel's best for me. Another big title this week, definitely. We've pushed this quite substantially, and if you haven't listened to the podcast, go back and listen to the interview with Christian Ward. All-around great guy, brilliant pod that we recorded with him, and this was the main focus of it, which is Bloodstained Teeth. So, written by Christian Ward, art by Patrick Reynolds, and this is a brand new Image series. This looks fantastic. Really looking forward to tucking into this. He did offer me a digital version so that I could, read it ahead of time, but I'm a paper guy, old school all the way. So really looking forward to tucking into that. I believe it's going to be an ongoing. We spoke with Christian about it, and he was, we were asking about what's your ideal length of series. He said if they could make it to 12 issues, he'd be able to tell all the story he wanted to tell. Another one that I'm really looking forward to this week, because it is the conclusion of what has been a great title, is The Crimson Cage. So this, of course, comes from the Sync team with John Lees and Alex Cormack. Actually, Cormack on colours. And again, this has been the Wrestling meets Macbeth. Brilliant title. Cannot emphasise it enough. Trade will not be far away. So you have missed out to this point. Get on the trade. What have we got next? We have Ghost Cage next. So this was a really good number one. A really sort of mech-based, futuristic-based title. Sci-fi fantasy, and the reason I jumped on is because the art and co-writer of it is Nick Dracota, who did such great work in East of West with Jonathan Hickman. So again, it's another one of those situations where it's following the creators as much as the titles themselves. First issue was great, a lot of world building involved, a lot of heavy lifting done. Now we can get on to the crux of the story, I think. Another AWA one coming to an end this week, and again another John Lees title, is Hotel Volume 2. So again, I talk about this all the time. It's a great horror anthology series. AWA Studios, this is Volume 2. There is a Volume 1 on trade, which we have in the AWA section, of course. And again, just really good old-fashioned horror comics right there. One that looked really cool from the previous book, I believe we had it on the previews board as well. So this is one from Aftershock Comics. Great cover by Francesco Francavilla as well. And this comes from the team of Nick Santora and Lee Ferguson. It's called Naughty List. I believe Nick Santora was a writer on The Sopranos as well. And this looks to be sort of a modern, darker interpretation of Kris Kringle, if you will, or Santa Claus. You don't want to be on the naughty list. So yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. Looks very much an adults-only title, though, I would say. So another couple to go. We have Newburn out this week. We're up as far as issue 6. So Chip Zdarsky, Jacob Phillips. Newburn, of course, is all about the guy who basically toes the line just between the cops and the mob. Sort of plays both sides against each other, but sort of keeps the peace between both sides as well. Just brilliant writing from Zdarsky, and Jacob Phillips, of course, doing great work in that Texas Blood, but also in Newburn. Always a good week when you have a new issue of Something Is Killing the Children. So we're up to issue 22. 21 was the start of a brand new story arc, focusing less on Erica Slaughter, although she did turn up, of course, but it was focusing more on new characters. Erica had left the small town where Something Is Killing the Children started, and it's become a little bit of a wanderer, almost a little bit of a Jack Reacher type character, if you will, except slays monsters. So yeah, issue 21 was great, which I think we've still one or two still on the racks, and then issue 22 will be your next port of call. Next up we have Step by Bloody Step, issue 3, so of the mostly silent comic, if you will, so little to no dialogue, little to no scene direction, pure reliance on the art. We're going to be recording some podcasts this week where Step by Bloody Step issue 1 was my pick of the week. I'll be going into great detail about why it's so great. But we're at issue 3 now of what will be a 4-issue mini-series. So again, if you've missed out, trade shouldn't be too far away. And then to finish off the single issues this week, we have Demons. So Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. Enough said. I mean, this is just one of the best comic teams in the history of comics. Big statement, I know. Don't care. Totally true. And with We Have Demons, they just get to cut their creative creative teeth a little bit away from the DC machine, away from, tying in with continuity, with other titles, blah, blah, blah. This is very much their own thing. It, of course, debuted through Comixology. It was a Comixology original, but now we're getting the single issues in, which is awesome. But I'm just going to finish off with two more at the front of the box. So first of all, we have Talon by James Tynion IV. So Talon was brilliant. Talon was a new 52 series that spun out of the events of Batman. This, again, Snyder and Capullo, all ties together. With Talon, it was a character who didn't want to be utilised in that way by the Court of Owls anymore, so it broke away. Started off being co-written by Scott Snyder as well as Tynion. Art is mostly by Guillaume March. Just a great title. I mean, it went for 17 issues, so you've got in here Talon 0 issue, plus the 1 to 17, and then Birds of Prey 21 as well, and a brand new introduction from Tynion. So you get the feeling this is where Tynion was cutting his teeth with DC. You know, Snyder was his teacher, he was his student, and this is just great stuff. You know, we got quite a few of these in because I think it's a sleeper hit. It's one of those new 52 series that not enough people talk about. Great stuff though. And then finally, it wouldn't be a week without an omnibus for myself. And what do we have? Thor by Jason Aaron. Yes, please. Volume 1. Predominantly works with Russell Donovan and Esad Ribic. And yeah, I mean, this is just one of the best runs in the last sort of 10, 15, 20 years of comics. I've read about the first 10 to 12 issues of it, so I haven't got as far as what this is. This is covering 1 to 25, plus Thor 1 to 8, Thor Annual, Thor's 1 to 4, and Mighty Thor 1 to 12. This is covering a lot of stuff. This is going to go right up to the Jane Foster's Thor storyline. This is perfect preparation with the upcoming movie coming out. And again, just some of the best storytelling in Marvel. You know, critically, it's fantastic. I also love as well, if you look here, it's by Jason Aaron, Noel Stevenson, CM Punk as well. Etc. I mean, the creators that worked on this are just legendary, and I'm really looking forward to tucking into the rest of it. The reason I've read the first 10 is because I managed to get the single issues, thankfully, before the hype train really started on Thor Love and Thunder, because now those issues are just stupidly priced. But again, an omnibus is the way to go in this case. It is a pricey big boy. It is over 100 quid. But I mean, when you factor in, you've got 25, 33, 34, 38, you've got 50 issues in there. So that's working out about £2 an issue. You just can't beat that sort of value. So yeah, that is my pull list. There is, of course, other titles available this week as well. There's variants of certain ones there as well we've got in. We've got quite a lot of Amazing Spider-Man variants, for example. There's variants for Joker we got in. There's variants for Harley Quinn. There's all kinds of good stuff there. So again, that's just my pull list to take you through the new stuff out this week. So we're going to move from there and into what came in this week and what is new in this week. So we move on to what's new in this week, and we start off with something that I don't normally do a lot of. You know, we get merchandise in all the time, figures and pop vinyls and all different kind of things. I don't always show them all off, but I thought it important to show this one off because A, it's class, and B, I thought it would never come this side of the world. So what we've got here is another one of the Todd McFarlane range, the DC Multiverse. This is the McFarlane Gold Label collection. And what this is a inspired bad drawing McFarlane did for Batman Year 2. It was originally announced as a Walmart exclusive over in America, so I thought we weren't going to get these, but I absolutely adore this. You know, it comes with the full stand underneath. You've got, you know, the cross there as well. I believe you can pull the cloak back and work the arms in. There's some different little additions you can use with it there as well. 22 moving parts, if you will. But I just thought this was really, really cool. And again, I didn't think it was going to come this side of the world, so we managed to get a few of those in. So just thought I would show that off first of all. But the emphasis this week and what's new in this week, as I say, I moved a lot onto the omnibuses this week. A lot of great stuff. So first of all, we kick things off with Morbius, the Living Vampire. So, pardon me, this is going right back to the start. So this is volume 1, of course. What we have here is kicking things off, of course, with Amazing Spider-Man, where Morbius made his first appearance. We've got issues from Vampire Tales, issues from The Man Called Morbius, the Living Vampire, issues from Marvel 2-in-1, issues from She-Hulk. Ton of great stuff in here. If you're a Morbius fan, this is pretty definitive. You know, it covers a lot of eras. It covers a very long period of Marvel history. And again, all in that one convenient place. So that is Morbius, the Living Vampire. I got Thor by Jason Aaron as well. I'm not going to go into great detail on this because if you skip the video back 5 minutes, if you skipped straight to what's new in this week, skip back to my pull list. There's one of these bad boys in there for me and all the details you need there. A lot of gushing over it. But yeah, Thor by Jason Aaron in this week as well. I also spoke quite a bit in my pull list section about Snyder and Capullo. So second Batman volume in by them. You may or may not be able to see just in the corner there. But you have Batman volume 1 there by Snyder and Capullo. And then this finishes off their pretty definitive run on Batman. So this is the conclusion to their run. You have issues 34 to 52 from the new 52, as well as the annuals, Future's End issues, sneak peek issues, and Batman Last Night on Earth 1 to 3 as well, and some other short stories from Detective Comics 27 and Detective Comics 1000. Definitive, essential, can't say it enough. Next up we have Decorum. So this is the hardcover. This of course is the title from Jonathan Hickman and Mike Huddleston. It was very heavily delayed in its single issue stage. I mean, I think we waited 6-7 months for issue 8, but I have all the single issues. I still haven't read it, so I can't quite stand behind it, but I've heard good things. And again, Image have done this really beautiful hardcover. Anytime Image put these hardcovers together, they're never big print runs, but they're always beautifully made and beautifully packaged. A really good companion this week, if you're really feeling flush, to the Thor run by Jason Aaron. We have War of the Realms back in stock as well. We got a few of these in at the start, the week of release. Flew out. This seems to be one of the harder omnibuses to get, and therefore if you want it you may go quickly, but this is massive. I mean, the weight of this thing, there's a good 50 plus issues. You've got War of the Realms, all the tie-ins, you've got Avengers issues, you've got Captain Marvel issues, you've got Champions issues, you've got Deadpool issues, you have Fantastic Four issues, Moon Girl issues, Superior Spot, tons of stuff, let's just say. So again, this is where Jason Aaron's run with Thor essentially ends. That's where it begins, that's where it ends. What else have we got? We've got a nice Batman hardcover here for Batman the Fear State Saga. So this, of course, was James Tynion IV's goodbye to Batman with Fear State. But what's good is you've got they do the Batman hardcovers, which is just the Batman issues, but they seem to be doing these Saga issues. So there was one, the Joker War Saga, which included all the tie-ins. Same with this one. So you've Batman 112 to 117, Batman Secret Files, Miracle Molly, The Gardener, Fear State Alpha, Fear State Omega. So again, pretty definitive right there. Next up we have another one that I thought looked great from the previews catalogue. It's a title called The Crows. And this is from Swedish creators, Anders Fager and Peter Berting. And it's described as a young adult fiction one, so elements of horror here as well, but it might be good to be aimed at teenage readers. So when Kim inherits an old family house in rural Sweden, there are notes posted everywhere, on the walls, the doors, even the ceiling, reminders and drawings of the monsters that still haunt this house and the land on which it sits. But the monsters aren't just outside, they're in Kim's head and the traumatic memories of an upbringing. Dive into this stunning graphic novel full of darkness, reconciliation and exploration of the self from acclaimed creators. So I've got one of those for myself as well, so I will tuck into that. Another one that I would have talked about in my own pull list section was Talon by James Tynion IV. Again, rewind back if you need to and go into detail on that, but fantastic stuff. Big fan of Talon. Back in stock this week as well is the trade paperback of Warhammer 40k, Sisters of Battle. So this was a 5-issue miniseries by Torun Grombeck, Edgar Salazar and Arif Pianto. And again, the Warhammer stuff's been great, really accessible for people like myself who don't have that big knowledge of it. A couple of volumes of Walking Dead just back in stock again. We're always trying to make sure that The Walking Dead is full 1 to 32 as much as possible. So volumes 18 and 19 back in stock. I have some good stuff here for some younger readers as well. So first of all, we have Spider-Gwen, Deal with the Devil. This includes stuff from Jason Latour, Bram Michael Bendis, Robbie Rodriguez, Sarah Pichelli. And again, it collects Spider-Man issues from 2016, 12 to 14, and Spider-Gwen 16 to 23. So these are ones if you want to get into the early stuff of Spider-Gwen, if you want to know more about the characters. And when they do them in these smaller formats, it means they're suitable for all ages as well. But I also got some cool Star Wars stuff in for younger readers. So we've got some Star Wars Clone Wars Adventures volumes. We've got Star Wars Adventures. We've got an adaptation of Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Stop sniggering at the back there. Phantom Menace was great. So yeah, again, they're just smaller volumes. They're all coming in at like £5-6. And again, they're good for younger Star Wars fans as well, rather than having to deal with, just all the Marvel stuff. But if you do want to deal with the Marvel stuff, one of the best ones is Star Wars Darth Vader by Kieran Gillen. Salvador Del Rocca on art the whole way through as well. Beautiful Mark Brooks cover there into the bargain. So this contains Gillen's entire run. So you have Darth Vader 1 to 25 and the annual number 1. Star Wars Vader Down number 1 and Star Wars 13 to 14 as well. So if you want an emphasis on the coolest character in Star Wars, outside of Han Solo, then this is where you want to be going. So again, another big omnibus here, but tons of value based on everything that is in it. And we finish off with the hardcover collection of DC Pride from 2021. So of course the 2022 stuff is coming up soon. It'll be released in June. But what this is the anthology that came out last year with extra material as well. So you've got DC celebrating Pride Month with stories and pinups featuring favourite characters such as Favorite LGBTQIA plus characters, including Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Midnighter, Batwoman, Aqualad, Dreamer, Alan Scott, Future State Flash, Renee Montoya, and Pied Piper. Features thrilling stories and gorgeous art from an all-star lineup of talent, including Tinian the Fourth, Mariko Tamaki, Chung Lee Nguyen, Chris Sanka, Klaus Janssen, Amy Reeder, Kevin Wada, Vite Allen, Nick Klein, Elena Casagrande, and many, many more. So, great anthology, some great stories in there, again, focusing on those characters. So, that is going to do it for our new format show this week. So, you can let me know what you think of the new format. Do you prefer it? Do you prefer the old format? What's better? If you think there's other guys out there who would enjoy the show, tell them about it. Please click like and subscribe, all the usual good stuff. Just let us know that it's something you're enjoying. And something that we'll continue to put effort into and continue to keep you guys informed. So, as ever, I hope it proved useful. I hope you are up to date, shall we say, and staying safe out there as well. So, I look forward to seeing you guys in the store soon. Have a good week. Take it easy.